Hello everyone, welcome to our Accounting 150, our first accounting class at HAC. We're glad that you have joined us. We want to welcome you to this class. And this video is just to kind of get you familiar with how the class is laid out so that you can find everything and you'll be ready to rock and roll as we get started this fall. So first of all, across the top are all of the things that you generally will be accessing most frequently. So all of the content is listed, any discussion boards, drop boxes, which is how we will turn in assignments. If you want to check your progress, it shows you where you are with all your grades and what you've looked at and what you haven't, including how many points you have to get going forward. Just looking at the grades is a separate. And then I want to point out the resources tab up here at the top as a very important, because if you have any questions about how to use Brightspace, which is our online learning system we're in right now, you can go here. If you want to access our tutoring for accounting, HAC Online Tutoring here is also available. That's limited in time, but we also have Smart Thinking Tutoring, which is available 24/7. If you have some trouble finding resources as far as doing research online for our assignments this semester, you can access the library here under resources as well. So literally all the different things that you might run into difficulty with the class could be addressed right here in the resources tab. All right. This middle part is the news feed, as I refer to the news feed, and that will be updated. So you want to check that regularly. I will update it at least weekly with assignments due and the things that we're working on. Any messages about changes, if there happens to be in the syllabus, any of that type of thing. And then, as you may notice, My Ugly Mug is over here with my contact information. Obviously, this semester we're not going to be on campus much, and so here's where I would be normally if that were the case. But more importantly, probably is the Zoom room that I'll use for student hours. Anytime that we have time we want to visit outside of during the student hours that I've set, which are completely optional, just like same as office hours, except focused on students. If we set up any other times to meet, that will be done during this what we refer to as my personal Zoom room, and the link is always here on the main page. There's also the content browser down here further, but it's the same thing as the content up top. Fine students usually go through the content. And then the calendar. If you scroll down a little bit further on the right hand, it will give you the due dates, all of that type of thing coming up in terms of your assignments. So that's how the main page is outlined. So you're going to want to start by going to the content. The first learning module or first module is the class introduction. There's an introduction discussion board. There is here the syllabi, or the syllabus for the class. And so you'll want to read through this syllabus. It has all that critical information, the catalog description, and I want to make sure that you know about the textbook. All right, the textbook is free and online available. It is accessible directly from the course site, as well as this link, if you see this link. And that location you can actually order a printed copy of the textbook if you would like. All right, just to give you here is the textbook link. It's on LibreText is the way that it is stated. Each chapter is here. And let me just show you kind of how things are laid out in this textbook. I click on chapter 1. Each chapter has got different sections. Each section then has the learning objectives and the reading to use and to go through. All right. During the text, there are places to check yourself, see if you're learning the material, just questions to kind of evaluate what you have learned so far. That's how the text is laid out. It's completely online. You can also download a PDF of it by chapter or the whole textbook at once. Now, you can go forward in sections by clicking on the section headings. Probably the most important section is the last part, the end of chapter exercises. When you look at the end of chapter exercises, there are questions, true, false, and multiple choice type questions. For all of these are just for review, and I have provided in the learning module answers to every single one of those questions so that you can check yourself to see if you understand the material using these questions. When you get to problems, this is where problems and research sections for the chapter, that's where your homework will come into play. And those problems will be assigned and instructed in the Dropbox. You'll click on the Dropbox. It'll tell you which problems you need to do and turn in. So I won't provide you with the answers of those up front until you have turned in your homework answers. And then you'll be able to view a podcast that explains the homework answers for you to use to make corrections. I ask you to make those corrections to your homework and re-upload it into the Dropbox make corrections and explanations in a different color so it's easily seen what you needed to correct. So that is how each chapter is laid out. Each chapter, you find the whole textbook in the introduction module. You'll find each chapter of the textbook linked in the individual learning module where we cover that chapter. All right, so other things in the textbook, in the syllabus, of course, are expectations. I have tried to anticipate lots of the questions that come up, but please, when you have questions, make sure you post them on a discussion board. There's a discussion board in each learning module. There's one in the introduction learning module about overall class questions. We want you to ask questions, and get them answered. Chances are, if you have a question, someone else does as well. Some of the assignments going forward. First of all, what most people are worried about, the tests. The first test, or the midterm exam. This is a 7-week course, so we'll take a midterm exam about 3 weeks in, and then we'll take a final exam. The midterm exam will be a spreadsheet that you will complete and turn back in as a Dropbox, similar to what we do with the homework. Okay, so that will be how we do the midterm, and you'll be able to have as much time as you want to work on that. You'll have a week available where you'll be able to download that and then re-upload it. Okay, the final exam will be different. It will be comprehensive, it will be multiple choice, and it will be timed. So you will be able to take it any time, day or night, but you will have, once you start it, it will only have 2 hours to complete it. All right? For class participation, we're going to have discussion postings each week. There will be expectations of making 2 postings, an original post and a follow-up. Each of them should be full sentences written like you are to explain things. Read specifically the instructions as to what is expected from the post and the follow-up post. We have 2 memos. We will have kind of a 2 assignments with each memo. You'll turn in a rough draft. That'll be worth 10 points. I'll give you feedback, and then you'll complete the final draft for 10 points. So the memo will be worth a total of 20 points. 1 page typically. You'll need to do a little research, not a research paper, but you should still give credit when you have used an outside source. The citations need to be made. I don't care so much about the format of those citations as much as you actually give the citation. Give credit to someone else if you use their ideas. Okay? We'll put you in groups midway through, and within that group you'll complete an ethics project in which you will answer a series of questions based on a case study. That will be more fully explained as we get closer to that point, about usually after the midterm exam. Homework, like I mentioned, this is how it's graded. Try to do the explanations and corrections in a different color or highlight or something. Here's the activities and calendar, which could change, but I don't usually have much in the way of changes, but there's always a possibility. How grading is done, and then our policies. All right, and access to various other resources in that regard. So that is all the syllabus. Make sure to look through that. Introduce yourself at the introduction. Here is, like I said, the online textbook for free, the full textbook. And then in each chapter, there'll be each learning module. There will be the reading and explanation materials where it'll link to the chapter. There will be a PowerPoint slide presentation that I've created. Okay. There will be an explanation of that PowerPoint slide, podcast, video, whatever you want to call it. There will be the answers to those questions at the end of the chapter that are not problems. That will be the case in each learning module. Then there'll be the discussion. All right. There will always be a question, one that's just a regular discussion board for questions, and then there will be the graded discussion, where you need to answer the best of your ability using the prompt that's given in the discussion. There will be assignments that will include your homework, that will include your memos we're working on, that sort of thing. Those drop boxes will be there in the assignments submodule. All right, and then the first couple of modules, I give you a checklist to kind of check yourself, make sure you didn't miss anything, as you get used to the format of the class. So that's how class is going to run. That's how grades will be determined. That's how you'll be evaluated and how we will learn. My expectation is that if you participate in each one of those assignments, each one of those activities, you will come to understand the basics of financial accounting. When you run into that wall and you can't figure it out, please post a question and we will explain it other ways, and we will find a way to understand. All right? So that is how class is going to work. I do want to mention our student hours are set 11:30 to 12:30, Tuesday, Thursday. That's when I will be in that Zoom room. And then again Thursday night from 8 to 9. That's the time. You don't need an appointment to come to that Zoom room, and I will just be there waiting. But remember, if there's other times where that doesn't work, please let me know, and we will make accommodations for you to make some time, and we'll go over anything you need to go over. So, welcome. We're just really excited to work with you this semester and wish you the very, very best.